San Francisco, of our heart and soul. We need all of San Francisco to embrace the heart and soul of our movement. Am I right? Okay, good. We need to stand firm for affordable housing, for human rights, for people, beautiful people who live in fear of evictions. We are here to stand firm for the heart and soul of San Francisco!
My name is Tahara. I live in San Francisco, California. I was in a theater group called the Cockettes. But now I'm being evicted with no place to go. I'm the only tenant left in the building now. The new owners have moved everyone else out. There were originally 5 different units. The others took buyouts and moved last August. I decided to stay because I can afford the rent here. I've been here 45 years in San Francisco. Came here in 1969 as a hippie from Texas. The rents were cheap in San Francisco and everybody was young, so we all lived together in groups. It's just the way it worked out. Nobody had any money. We did a lot of free theater, and the Cockettes, I'm sure everybody knows who they are. They've been around, and then they started performing, and that had a big influence on gay culture, and there was a lot of gay culture in San Francisco at that time in the late 60s, and that influenced, combined with the hippie revolution stuff and the social changes going on in America, all of that combined together to make a sort of a new way of doing things, sort of beginning to be in the 21st century. It was an idealism that at that time when life was a lot easier, you could do a lot easier. Now there are so many hard facts and hard realities about survival, particularly with young people. In my day, it was so much easier to live, and now there's a lot less of everything, and it's a lot more expensive. You didn't think about tomorrow. And now that we're being evicted, all you do is worry about tomorrow all the time. It's just the fact of life that, you know, this isn't going to last forever.
Hello there, I'm Russell Blackwood, and here I am on Market Street in San Francisco on a Saturday night, April 26th. The cast and I just finished up a performance of Pearls Over Shanghai, the Cockettes musical, and then headed over to Rebel for a closing night of Shit and Champagne. In the 5 years since we first put up Pearls Over Shanghai, a show that the Cockettes did here 44 years ago, I've seen a lot of change go on. In the past year, I've seen it escalate. I look along the skyline and it's crane after crane after crane, and putting together a preview comp list or an opening night comp list, really very conscious of the people who were strong supporters, allies, and collaborators who were here 5 years ago when we first opened Pearls Over Shanghai, and who have had to move on and leave the city now. Tahara was one of the first Cockettes that I got involved with. He took on multiple costumes as a designer and builder. To know that his building's been sold and that this guy who really was ensconced in San Francisco, and I believe needs to be in San Francisco, both for himself and for San Francisco, to see his situation as tenuous as it is threatening. It's threatening to me, and I think it's threatening to the other people who hear his story.
You're going to hear about this a lot today, that real estate speculation destabilizes our neighborhoods, and we support regulation and controls on such speculation.
It's typical of what's going on in this city that someone like Tahara is being evicted. People like him and me and other artists, we are some of the people being targeted in these evictions because we tend to be living in long-term rent-controlled apartments because we don't have a whole lot of money. So we get targeted by these speculators and investors who are coming in to flip buildings.
The city, in a way, gets screwed too, because, you know, then what do you have left? You have a sterile environment with people on cell phones and iPads all day, talking, and a somewhat robotic mentality, I think. There are things that are going to disappear from the city because I don't think the money coming in is going to create a very creative atmosphere, except in technology, perhaps.
People who've always made this city the vibrant, wonderful, diverse city that it has been, they're all being driven out. The little theaters that I was working at have gone out of business.
Welcome to oblivion, you righteous motherfucker!
Tonight's our closing night of shooting champagne. It's been a great run.
This is turned into a sushi restaurant. And so this is the last show that can use the kitchen as a dressing room, and there's no other space to do a show of this size. So we can do one-person shows, but actual theatrical shows will have to end. So this is really the last night, the end of an era. It is part of gentrification. I can pretty much guarantee that in 2 or 3 years, where we are right now will be condos, high-end condo.
We're losing what made San Francisco, a city that was on the edge, a city that embraced difference and edginess. And you could thrive in this city at one time. You could do your art, and you could still feed yourself and rent an apartment. You can't do that anymore.
San Francisco's losing because they're losing the people who create, and they're being replaced by the people who work. Employees.
I want it done fast and I want it done cheap. What's a motherfucking motto? Mallard, always low prices.
It's an end of an era is what it is. It's an end of an era. I'm just going to go on with my art and my theater, whatever it is. I love doing art and I'll always do it. You should worry about where everything's going in terms of where we're all going to be in 20 years. And instead of, being busy in the moment, try to think ahead a little bit, in a positive way.
I'm trying to keep myself in a positive head about where we're headed right now. And it's easy for me to go into naysaying or depressive head about it because of some of the hands-on experiences I'm having with how those changes in the city are affecting the people who I work with and love.
We need the eyes of the world to be on us. It's just like any other situation where there's oppression happening or something really inhumane happening. The more that the world's attention is on that, and the more publicity that comes on that, the better it is for the people who are being persecuted.
The Coquettes were people who came to San Francisco with a dream of finding themselves or making more of themselves by being here. I think there are people who are still coming to find themselves in San Francisco, and what I can do is, I think, provide a safe and inspirational place for them to do that. I've said many times through my time here, hey, you're the kind of person I came to San Francisco to meet. I want people to continue to say that about each other under my roof.